Ever since Variety dropped the scoop that Leslye Headland was developing a female-centric Star Wars series for Disney+, a scoop that was leaked to Variety, not announced by Disney, there have been reports that Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are both livid. Furthermore, there has been a flurry of meeting activity the last few days. What hasn't been reported on so far is just what they have been talking about in these meetings. While minutes detailing the conversations and conclusions are unlikely to ever leak, we have gotten at the very least some indication of what they might have been talking about from our sources. In this editorial then, I will share the glimpse our sources gave us into the nature of this meeting activity, as well as the most recent rumors making the rounds about why Disney are so upset with this leak. Like most other companies, Disney have furloughed countless employees, and the senior staff that should be working from home aren't all actually working from home. To clarify, while some of them are more overworked than they've ever been before, others don't have much to do, meaning not everyone is online at the same time, and coordinating meetings between executives is more challenging than it's ever been before. The swift and efficient face-to-face conversations they used to have been replaced by emails, direct messages, and postings on closed Disney message boards. It is this written communication our sources claim to have witnessed, and that you are about to be given a summary of. Before I relay this summary to you though, I must of course warn you that I have not seen any of this communication myself. I am merely forwarding the same summary that was provided to me from sources that claim to have seen it. As such, nothing of what I am about to say can be independently verified, meaning you must treat it as a rumor and take it with a grain of salt. In addition to this written chatter, there have of course also been video conference meetings between Iger, Chapek, and other key executives. But I have not received any summary or retelling of any kind on the progress and conclusions of these meetings. So, with all those health warnings out of the way, here then is a summary of the chatter I was told has been taking place at Disney's middle management and senior level in the aftermath of Variety's scoop dropping. However overused the term may be, the Variety scoop hit Disney like a bombshell. Our sources compared the, for lack of a better term, internal Disney message board with Reddit in the aftermath of the story dropping. Confusion reigned. But interestingly, the confusion wasn't so much about how the story leaked, but if Lucasfilm indeed were developing a new series for Disney Plus with Leslye Headland, and if so, why nobody had heard about it. The single most recurring comment was reportedly, "Did you know about this?" Which no one did, hence the confusion. Interestingly, this confusion also extended into the film production unit of Lucasfilm itself. Whenever a proposal is developed within Lucasfilm, story drafts will circulate, while design ideas and storyboards of key sequences designed to sell the concept are also developed. In this case, there reportedly has been none of this. No designs, no storyboards, no story drafts, no nothing. We earlier reported that there was no paper trail of Leslye Headland's Star Wars project within Disney, but if this report from our sources indeed is accurate, there was no paper trail within Lucasfilm either. It appears that whatever Kathleen Kennedy and Leslye Headland have been developing doesn't exist outside the confines of their own heads. If so, that is a very interesting revelation. That would imply that not only is Lucasfilm relatively isolated from Disney, but Kathleen Kennedy is isolated even from the rest of Lucasfilm. The faction of Lucasfilm that is loyal to her might very well have been aware of this project, but by all accounts relayed to us. No one in Lucasfilm that were needed to produce a presentable pitch were aware of it either. Based on the manner in which this got out, and what I have been told, which is pretty much everything I've relayed to you in this and the previous video. I am left with the impression that Lucasfilm is a house even more divided than previously thought. Not only that, Kathleen Kennedy and her acolytes appear to be increasingly isolated and separated from the rest of Lucasfilm. And it looks more and more like either Kathleen Kennedy or Leslye Headland herself, or both, really did go rogue and announced this on their own accord in an effort to use industry and Twitterati pressure as a means to force this into getting made. It sure got Leslye Headland into the headlines, so no matter who leaked it, her reps are probably overjoyed at the exposure. Bob Iger and Bob Chapek are reportedly livid though, and there are indeed quite a few things to be livid about here. Because even if Headland alone was the leaker, which I don't think, then Kennedy would still be responsible for her, and this is corporate high treason right here. We can only speculate on everything they are livid about, but there is at the very least one report suggesting that Leslye Headland herself is one of them. As I said in the previous video, the initial report that the two Bobs were livid came from the user WDWPro over at the WDW Magic forums. He later added more detail. In a follow-up post, he wrote, "Apparently the goobers at Lucasfilm hired Harvey Weinstein's former personal assistant who comes with significant PR baggage, potentially legal baggage, and did so without consulting Disney or their legal department." Amusingly, he also added, "I couldn't figure out how they could even screw up from home, but they found a way." That's Kathleen Kennedy's Lucasfilm for you right there. So, let's explore that. The Variety Scoop painted Leslye Headland in a very positive light, highlighting the critical acclaim bestowed upon Russian dolls and all that stuff. Which of course they printed verbatim from the write-up they were given by either Kathleen Kennedy, Leslye Headland, or both together, which would be my guess. Disney won't be swayed by such a BS PR statement aimed at whitewashing her though, because they know that in reality, Leslye Headland is a Harvey Weinstein success story. Not only did she spend 1 year as his personal assistant, not only did she base her play on greed partially on him, reportedly, he invested in her and was instrumental in launching her career on the small and on the big screen. Today, she is rich and successful, and maybe she would have found another way there even without him. But as it stands, her current success is in, shall we say, no small part built on the pillars of one Harvey Weinstein. For a company like Disney, that itself is bad, but their worry is that it could get infinitely much worse. For all of Leslye Headland's condemnation of both Harvey Weinstein, men in general, and whites of both genders, she has remained suspiciously quiet about her own tenure as Weinstein's personal assistant, hiding behind NDAs every step of the way. Disney's nightmare scenario with her being on their payroll is that at some point in the future, a Weinstein victim might come forward and point to Headland as the one who booked that particular casting couch meeting, and who then helped conceal what went down there after the fact. Note that I am not saying that Leslye Headland has been complicit to anything, I wouldn't know. But from Disney's point of view, they are terrified of even the possibility of such an accusation ever surfacing. Such is the baggage she comes with, that alone is reason not to hire her. Not without an extreme vetting process first, carried out by Disney Legal, and clearly that has not happened. Without such a vetting process having taken place, Leslye Headland is not a person Disney will want associated with their brand. So why would Kathleen Kennedy hire her? Because, as covered before, no matter where she started out, Leslye Headland is now a card-carrying activist, just like Kathleen Kennedy, who champions the same cause as her. Kennedy's contract is up next year, so she would love to have a showrunner carry on her work for the cause, even after she is no longer there. That leaves the question though, will this ploy be successful? The last I heard from our sources is that everyone still working in Disney have been instructed to no longer talk about this matter, not even between themselves. Not until the higher-ups figure out just how they're going to solve this. If their people listen, it might be a while until we learn more. I have no idea how they will solve this, but I do have a feeling that Kennedy and Headland just might be in for a rude awakening. Only 1 year ago, any company would have been terrified of cancelling anything that ticked all the virtue signaling boxes that this thing does. But that was before Kathleen Kennedy's own brand of Star Wars lost half its audience over the course of 3 movies. And before the consecutive failures of Birds of Prey, Charlie's Angels, and Terminator Dark Fate. Try as they might, tempted as they will be, that will be very hard for the industry to ignore. Especially now, when they've slammed the brakes on everything new, and even cancelled things that seemed like a safe bet due to force majeure. Whether Kathy, Leslye, or both are behind the leak, I think they overplayed their hand. As always, we will keep you up to date as we learn more. In addition to that, we'll also be putting out videos breaking down just how divided Lucasfilm and Disney really are behind the scenes, as well as why so many who aren't man-babies or istaphobes reel at the mere mention of the term female-centric. So do come back for that. If you like this content and everything else we have to offer, then please subscribe, indicate that you want notifications on all videos, and then click on those notifications when you get them. Otherwise, YouTube will stop sending them and may even randomly unsubscribe you, because that is how it works. Finally, let me know what you think of all of this in the comments.